Hello and welcome to our MN313 group project. The company we've chosen, IKEA, and the countries we will contrast are the UK and China. We hope you enjoy. IKEA is a Swedish-founded multinational group that's headquarters is found in the Netherlands. They design and sell ready-to-assemble furniture as well as kitchen appliances and home accessories. From around 2008, IKEA has been the world's largest furniture retailer. It was founded in 1943 by a 17-year-old boy called Ingvar Kamprad, who in 2015 was listed by Forbes as one of the top 10 richest people in the world, being worth more than $40 billion. The company's name is an acronym that consists of the initials of Ingvar Kamprad, his name, Elmtöryd, the farm in which he grew up, and Agunnaryd, his hometown in southern Sweden. I will now go on to discuss the different culture, language, political and legal systems and economic systems between the UK and China. There are significant differences between the key philosophies held in China and the Western culture found in the UK. China is a far more ethnically and culturally diverse country than the UK. China have their own values, background and unique belief system, and as a result, Westerners find Chinese culture complicated and hard to comprehend. The UK favours a luxurious lifestyle compared to the Chinese, who are more focused on having a modest way of living. For example, in China, people have no more than 40 square feet of living space on average. There are three major differences between the UK and China's culture. Firstly, Westerners believe in individualism, whereas the Chinese outlook is that of collectivism. Secondly, people in the UK express affection freely, but Chinese people express emotion puritanically. And lastly, people in the UK have a materialistic approach to life, and the Chinese value relationships and searching for happiness through meditation. Due to these significant differences in culture in the two geographical locations, IKEA must adapt themselves in their given business environments to take full advantage of these differences. The Chinese language varies vastly from region to region. For example, a resident of Shanghai could not understand someone from the Guangdong province. Therefore, the pronunciation of IKEA products will vary also. Furthermore, China is a higher context culture, so relationships are valued more than in the low context culture found in the UK. Showrooms are smaller in China as the Chinese people have less living space than people in the UK, and this gives a more accurate representation. A balcony exhibit will be kitted out differently in the north than one in the south of China. In the north, balconies are widely used as food storage, but in the south they double as laundries. IKEAs in China stock more rice cookers and more chopsticks than IKEAs in the UK. Chinese stores also tend to be larger. On any given Saturday there could be up to 28,000 customers in the Beijing store, which would be good numbers for a UK store to get during a week. Stores are located closer to customers in China as fewer people have cars as they do in the UK. Politically, it may be difficult to set up a franchise such as IKEA in China due to poor licensing regulations, vague laws and weak intellectual property protection, which would undermine the very identity of a franchise. In the UK, the economy is market orientated, which means that IKEA stores in the UK react to what the customers want. They look at trends and customer attitudes and behaviours when selecting which products to stock. In China, a socialist market economy is used to describe the country's economic system. China's economy is subject to market forces, for example, demand and supply and price, and capitalists are involved, but the party does not believe that capitalists run their economy.
For the following slides, we will be contrasting various elements of IKEA's international marketing strategy in the UK and China. These elements include the target market, pricing and market positioning. We will then analyse a recent marketing campaign for each country. In the case of IKEA in China, IKEA struggled differentiating their products from others available on the market due to being too expensive for low and middle class income families, yet considered cheap for families on higher incomes. They ultimately decided that their target market is those between 25 and 35, the generation born into the one-child policy. Cultural distance is key for target market selection in China for IKEA. As China has slowly opened up due to globalization, many cities in the eastern part of the country, such as Shanghai and Beijing, have deeper Western cultural infiltration. By targeting areas with lower cultural distance to their main operations, IKEA have experienced economies of learning that allow them to slowly spread operations into other areas in China.
The main target market in the UK is women between 25 and 45 who are settled and have families. This target market is very similar to IKEA's target market throughout the rest of the EU. There is low cultural distance between the host country and UK. Both have similar economies and political systems in comparison to the Asian market.
Products in Chinese IKEA stores are generally cheaper than their international counterparts. Import taxes, higher labour costs and transport costs may lead one to believe that prices would actually be higher in Asia. However, in order to compete, IKEA charges lower prices and sources materials locally. but as a result, they stray from the operating codes within the organisation.
The UK stores are quite similar to Sweden. From a survey conducted, it showed that UK customers are satisfied with the price of products available as it matches the quality they are receiving. This is known as demand-based pricing. A very successful non-price method of competition IKEA use in the UK is loyalty schemes that were introduced in 2007 for their IKEA family brand. This encouraged more spending amongst their target market and has influenced behaviours and perceptions towards brands and firms upon their introduction. In contrast, this method has been a failure in China.
IKEA prides itself in being closer to consumers in China. Location on transport lines is key and differentiates themselves from other low-cost furniture stores. In China, IKEA can no longer compete using one of its competitive advantages, which is price. This is due to the nature of cheap copying of products in Chinese markets. Instead, they position themselves as a furniture company that specialises in interior design, which is showcased in their unique showrooms.
In the UK, planning laws have hindered IKEA in setting up their standard box building. Unfortunately, in the UK, places like Coventry have had to build up and sell from a 3-storey building. In the UK, IKEA positions itself as a low-cost furniture solutions company. This is evident due to the flat-pack nature of their products, removing the cost of labour for assembly. This makes them different from competitors such as B&Q.
While IKEA have been successful in the Chinese market, a recent campaign of theirs was highly criticised and resulted in a public apology. An outdated view of Chinese culture and traditions is what resulted in the backlash from a sexist campaign. In the ad, a Chinese mother told her daughter not to call her mother until she has a boyfriend. This was met with complaints from customers on social media for shaming single Chinese women. It is a common occurrence for Western firms to culturally cluster Asian countries together and assume it is easy to obtain information relating to these markets. While there are rapid developments in China, advances are uneven across many regions. So while in rural parts of the country being married at a young age is common, in built-up areas where IKEA stores are located, this campaign did not reflect norms and therefore did not connect with the target audience.
In the UK, after an analysis of several of their ads, it is evident that IKEA tries to engage with their target market by highlighting family values. In a recent successful campaign called Playing With My Friends, children are shown playing with life-size teddies and robots, which eventually transpire to be the parents of the children. While the ad doesn't highlight one specific piece of furniture, all items in the ad, including the toys, are available in IKEA stores. Through the use of toys in this campaign, IKEA was also trying to appeal to children through pester power.
IKEA uses a standardised approach to international marketing with some adaptations to suit local markets. The multinational aims to use the same processes and to be perceived the same way in every country. When studying IKEA's marketing strategy, we discovered some challenges. We proposed the following suggestions. The high demand in UK means that customers can be disappointed to find that items are out of stock after making the journey to the store. Although the IKEA website updates the stock availability every 30 minutes, we suggest introducing a push notification function, notifying customers if their desired item is close to being out of stock. We also propose having concessions in bigger furniture shops. The cost of distributing the catalogue. The IKEA catalogue accounts for 70% of the marketing budget in the UK, as the cost of distributing to high population markets is expensive. We recommend directing people to the online catalogue and the catalogue app in all advertisements, and printing less copies and distributing them in selected stores only. We have put together a list of guidelines for companies who are considering market entry to either the UK or China. In terms of entering the UK market, companies must be aware of the UK retail planning laws. Family and loyalty schemes are effective in the UK, and there is an increasing number of cosmopolitan consumers. In relation to entering the Chinese market, it's important that managers understand the following. When managing Chinese employees, taking into account 50 years of state rule and state-owned enterprises, Chinese employees aren't overly service-minded. China is regarded as having high power distance relationships, which can complicate some employee strategies. A core market segment in China to be aware of is the little emperors, as mentioned previously. It is said that Western retailers are often perceived as luxury brands, which can come as an advantage to the entering company. An IKEA case study tells us that products brought into China were subject to import taxes of 22%. There is no doubt that retailers are vulnerable to copying in China. Companies entering the market must be cautious and perhaps overcome this problem through business strategy and positioning. So that concludes our presentation today. Thank you for taking the time to listen.